We're discussing about Vray Render. Render, like usually default in 3dsmax, we use scanline render, right? And we did Mendelray render also. Mendelray render and scanline render, when we doing, the big difference happened. Quality was better. The materials and all, when we give chrome material, water material, glass material, we're getting very good result. The reason why, because light have an important role. Very white means light have a more control in mental ray. Light bouncing has more control. Okay, it's have a very wide range of light bouncing happens. Okay, that is able to control. That's the reason Mendel ray getting better result. Now coming to Vray Render, just I type in a Google, you see a lot of images. This Vray is an extra plugin. It's not using for this is not Autodesk product. So Chaos is a different company. So you can combine, you can connect Vray with the 3dsmax, Vray with Maya, Vray with the SketchUp, Vray with many other 3D software. What Vray do? Vray have its own settings. Vray have its own light. Vray have its own material. Okay, Vray has its own material, light, camera also. So what we'll do, the quality of the render Vray can decide, because we are using their material, we are using their lighting. Okay, so the light bouncing, for example, in this room, a light come from here, it's look very realistic, right? So a light come from here, when it is hitting to somewhere, after hitting, it is going to somewhere again it will hit, again it will come back, right? This controlling when how many times it's bouncing. When first hit, it is called primary bounce. Second hit, it is called secondary bounce. Okay, so secondary bounce, that time how much intensity we need, we can control. Okay, what color tone it is coming, we can control. What kind of material it is, light have to absorb or reflect through the material, we can control. Okay, this kind of settings are, that's the reason we are getting more realistic result in Vray. Vray give you photo realistic image like this in interior and exterior, more photorealistic render. We have nothing to do modeling in Vray. What we do is a rendering method. It's like 3D, it's like Mental Ray. It's a different type of rendering method. But the most important thing, more than when Mental Ray, Vray have lot of options are there, which we are adjusting in the Vray. Vray, we will use a lot of options. Okay, which we will, everybody have their own settings. When whoever is working in this industry, you can ask, like, for example, if I have experience in Vray, I will have my own settings. You know, SLR camera, when we use in the manual photography, everybody have their own settings. That's some tips. I have experience with the camera. I know that white balance, if I adjust this much. For example, aperture, if you increase it, light can be increased or decreased, right? Increase or decrease, we can control. Instead of we don't touch aperture, we will adjust with ISO. That's a technique. So some people ISO getting noise, so we will play with aperture. So this is the settings, like depends on whoever have experience in which area, they have their own techniques like that, their own settings. Same way, Vray have its own settings. Everybody have their own settings. Interior, what value you have to give, after some experience I will understand, after some experience you will understand. So you're going to note that one, or you're going to save that all settings. Okay, that's usually everybody do with Vray. Okay, so Vray, you need to study the settings by experience. So when you are studying now, with somebody's experience is sharing to you, these are the values getting good. If I say, still you can do experiment on it, do some changes somewhere, minute changes happens. Okay, when I'm changing some kind of filter, I'm changing maybe some option, some value I'm changing. I'm telling you, these are the settings is good. These are the area is for this one. Then when I'm changing these settings, you can see when you do some changes on your different type of filter use, different type of value you use. So you can see, you can understand that, okay, in your picture, this value will be better than other. So that way you need to experiment on it. So this is all about Vray. Okay, when you install Vray here, when you press F10, render settings, In render, we have scareline here. This place you can see Vray Advanced, Vray RT, right? So Vray Advanced we are using. When you choose this Vray Advanced, you might check this all options are active. These all options are active. GI, these all options are active. If you don't crack it proper, it may have a problem. If you don't install, if you are using the original version, if you don't install it proper, the settings may not be visible over here. You may install, but it's not completely installed. So you need to check after Vray installation. First things you need to check your Vray Advanced is correct or not. Second one, these settings from here is all are active, is visible or not. If you purchase this Vray, the installation, if it is not completely done proper way, these settings may not be visible over here. Just only the heading will be there, but content won't be there. Okay, so this will happen in this is the way you need to check once you install the Vray. Now we checked it's installed proper. Now a few area I want to tell you. When you press F10, I'm changing this one to, you should understand the area belongs to what. Not I'm telling you that the settings will be a changing because of this reason. Okay, overall I'm going to tell you, but I will show you 2 times, one with an example also. I choose Vray. In Vray, the first area which we do with the frame buffer. Frame buffer is the area which we're going to switch on and switch off. We can control in the rendering area how much area need to render at a time and all. You know, it is actually render different way. It can render all together, can render, or part by part can be rendered. Okay, small area. So that size, you know, how much part is going to render, that actually we are doing with the frame buffer. Then global switches inside, you can see the light is the default, which is on or off, which we can control. The image sampler anti-aliasing. Okay, and here no, here we don't do much. Image filter. In image filter, this is, you know what is filter effects, right? Filter means the color tone, little bit color tone. Okay, there are some color tones which commonly use it. Okay, which I cannot say that this is best one, this is not good, or this is using for exactly like that, but commonly what people use it after experiment, which is one area use it. Catmull room, it will use it. Catmull room. Then Mitchell Netravali. This is one of the things which everybody uses. Mainly Mitchell Netravali, Catmull room, and area. Okay, but other things also you can try this. But I always prefer this one, Mitchell Netravali, when I do any kind of filters. Okay. Then here you can see progressive image sampler. For example, from here, if I'm choosing this, then comes to next area is progressive image sampler. Here is sampling image. Here mainly we do a settings called noise threshold. Noise threshold means in your the quality of the image, if you want to improve more, sometimes some noise will come. Noise are coming, there are many reasons other. Noise coming to the screen, there are many reasons other. Okay, this is one of the big problem which we have to troubleshoot it. If your all settings are perfect, materials are correct, everything is done, still if you have some problem with the noise, we will be adjusting this value. You can go to 0.0001 and all. When you go to like lower value, the quality will increase, but the render time also will increase it. It take more time. So if it is needed, then only you need to go to lower one. Otherwise, you can go to 0.5 and all if it is fine. Okay, or 0.05 is fine. So 0.001 and all, when you do it, the quality will increase, but render time will be increasing. Now here we do it. DMC is the global DMC. We have nothing to do. In environment is one of the other important area in Vray. So what I am saying now, these are the area belongs to this. Later you will study this all settings. Okay, so this area is belongs to this. This area is belongs to this. That is I am explaining to you now. Okay, a fundamental understand. Okay, environment is an area. Here we will give environment light. If you don't have any light, if you switch on your GI environment, GI means global illumination. Global. When I am saying, if you have some doubt in some words, here many words will be new words, right? You can note it. Okay. So GI means global global illumination. GI environment. So global illumination, if you switch on it, you will get an environment. So if you don't have a light, if you have environment, you know the sunlight effects, similar kind of a sunlight effects will get to the product or object. This value, if you increase this one, that GI environment links. Usually we give a color which is coming below near to this blue, because this is a sun color. Okay, a light, because why this, the sky reflection may come. That is the reason we always choose somewhere over here. Okay. Then we have reflection or refraction environment. Reflection or refraction environment. Reflection or refraction environment means maybe you're giving a reflection to the object. Okay. I have a steel or a kind of a glass. We have a glass material or a chrome kind of a material. You remember HDRI image we use to get reflection, right? HDRI image we use in environment. That kind of image we will be giving in reflections and environment here. If you want to get that, for example, you have a building. The building glass, you want to get the reflection from the environment. So you will be giving the HDRI image over here. GI, environment and reflection. So here reflection, we will give an image that will reflect to the glass, reflect to the steel, gold or whatever. Okay. And in color sampling, we use mainly here linear multiply, exponential, Reinhardt. These are the things which usually we use it. And here we can see multiplier value, you can increase and decrease it. Camera, if you two-way people work in CAD here in Vray, if you know very well in the camera settings, you can play with your camera settings from here. You can camera aperture and all, you can adjust from here. Then light, we will not adjust much. Otherwise, you can do it with the light instead of camera. Some people do both. Okay, this is your experiment. I always do on the light only instead of camera. Okay. So the camera, because see why I'm telling you, because when you study this Vray from one person, you will be adopting only my style only. So you don't need to go through that. I'm telling you, these are the area which when you're exploring, you can explore this way. You take a tutorial from YouTube, somebody's tutorial. If you follow, you will understand his way only. That may not be the best way. Okay, just to understand the area, then you can make it your own way. Then go to this area. If we go to GI, global illumination. Global illumination, mainly there are global illumination area. There are two things: are the primary engine and secondary engine. Is very, very, very important portion in Vray. Primary engine means the first one when a light is coming and hitting to a room. The first bouncing is called primary bouncing. So that we will set over here. After first, what are the second times or third times when it is bouncing? This is called secondary bounce. So usually here we do irradiance map. This is what we set it. Irradiance map. Here we use it light cache. In the primary irradiance map and light cache. If you do these two settings, that two settings option is going to come down. Irradiance map settings. So here we're going to do something. Light cache property. Here we're going to do something. In irradiance map, what we're going to do, if you choose irradiance map here the presets, what is the quality you need? Can I do a very low, medium, high, and all? Of course, everybody need very high, right? So the problem is take long time. Okay, so depends on the situation, depends on, do you need it very high? Sometimes very low and very high will not have a big difference. In some situations, if you have enough light, the quality of the materials all are not complicated materials and all, then it will be same. So you don't need to spend a lot of time. Maybe medium is enough, maybe very low is enough. When I'm changing this preset, you can see there are many properties over here. This is going to adjust it automatically as per that. Sometimes some option on, sometimes some option less. Okay, properties adjusting as per this. So this is area. So when you check the files, this quality is okay or not before your final render, we always choose very low. Okay, very low. Then when it's okay, we go to sometimes medium and all. If you have a good workstation with the best quality you need, go to high, or high if it is animation happens a lot, go to a high animations or medium animation. Show calculate phase we switch on. I will show you in the practically why we use that. And subdivisions light cache. One of the important area where your render time is increasing or decreasing. The render time is deciding on subdivisions. If you keep this one 100, you can see render will happen very quickly. If you keep this one 1000, your render will be, or you can see what usually we do like 2500 maybe, render will be very slow. But when you increasing and decreasing, subdivision value increasing and decreasing, the quality of the image also increases and decreases. Everybody like to do it 5,000 or 10,000, but it takes a lot of time. So we use logically, we will decrease and increase it. One frame when you render, you understand how many times taking for one frame. Okay, as per that, we're going to set it. Then that's all. This is the settings we're going to do. In the settings, we don't do much. This is mainly V-Ray and GI. We're going to set it. Just have a look this area. Then I will tell you one more time. Then you can note it also, the settings.